here I have put and trying to improve how the camera sees. I have increased the light. I still see if I can change a little bit later on the setups of the camera to increase the exposure, but now it should have enough light to show better how it looks like. So just let me check here that I have everything okay. Okay, I will look for me. I have to go. Moment, I'm looking for myself. Okay, that's not going to find me. Okay, that's not going to find me. So let me see if I change this. Just trying to set up this correctly. So strange, I cannot find myself. So let me see. This is working. Here I am. Okay. Now seems that I have everything correctly set up. So let's start the live video and let's have some chat together. So I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope you are ready for St. Valentine's tomorrow. We are here. I'm going to, just before starting, let's do a little bit of recap. Okay, I just finished painting. I need to change the camera first so I can show you what's going on. So I will change to my table camera, and this time should be much better. Here we are. Okay, I hope you can see this better. And here you see. So I paint this dwarf. This is the, and I will put soon the tutorial on this guy. So I really enjoyed painting him. I think it's a nice sculpt. Okay. And it's okay. Here you have maybe better light. Okay, I went for this type of Bordeaux color on the book. And then here we have the face. If you want to see more details, a tutorial is coming soon, so you will be able to see how this was painted. The only thing I'm missing, and I'm going to do maybe here now, is the, as he is the referee, should be next to the yeah, white line on the edge of the field. So we are going to apply. So you come with a white brush. I come in quite thin, and we just do the line. Okay, we have now the field done. So I need to wait at this device, and I hope I don't have too much pollen with all these things here. You should be able to see my wet palette as well this time. So let me know, what do you think about this angle to paint. I hope it's better for you. I will change to my magnifier glasses now. Okay, and let's just start painting. So what I'm painting now is I'm painting the Imagifer. Okay, and we are going to work on, and it's missing the bolt gun that will go somewhere. So should go like that. Opa. Wait, escape from there. Okay, so should go. I'm thinking should go like that. Okay, something like that. So I don't think we'll go. No, it should go like that. Here we have the shape of the cloth. So we are going to alternate between this and the one from Raging Heroes. Okay, putting my colors there. I will move this a little bit here. So trying to find the best setup for this, and it's not that easy to be able to put a camera in between. Okay, don't know where you find the energy. It's Saturday night and I'm exhausted. Well, here have been not a very different week for me, at least in Belgium. So hi Malaga War Games, thanks a lot for passing by. Very appreciated. Yeah, and yeah. So here in Belgium, I cannot. Yeah, my last order was done in Element Games, and I will need to stop ordering to Element Games because yeah, you are charged in the customs, so it's not that you have to pay the VAT. I had to pay as well additional 20 euros for the administrative work. So in total you pay 50 euros and you recover part of the VAT from the shop. So it was quite painful my last shipment. They start provide in Spain from today. Yeah. Yes, and now I'm thinking where to order my I need to find a shop in Europe where they ship in Belgium in quite a good way, because I was buying normally in Element Games, but now with the Brexit is not a way to order. So I don't know if Wayland will have the same problem, but I think so. So when you try to cross the customs in Belgium, you are charged there for all the administrative work, and it's very expensive. So it's not worth it to buy anymore in UK. So I'm wondering all these shops in UK, how they will manage in the future. Okay. So I mean, when you say this, the deliveries is the deliveries of the games workshop to the shops, to the retailers from. Because the problem now, if you were buying to retailers in UK, okay, the big problem if you were buying to retailers in UK, no, yeah, you are going to be stopping the customs, and you will need to pay for the administrative work to pass the customs, and this is very expensive, so it's not worth it. Or you have to you go to UK and try to pass it by yourself, but I will not do that. So I need to find a retailer in Europe. So I'm thinking to order now, and I want the books in English. So even if I buy in a retailer in Spain, that is my first thinking, I will need to have a retailer that is bringing the books in English. Where Barclay last night? They took heavy tools, minutes a piece. Stating that there was free trade in Europe was a lie. It's completely a lie. That it is not free trade, and unless they arrive to a new agreement. So if you are buying to retailers, don't buy to England. No, it's quite risky. So you don't know if you will be charged additional. I was charged in my last shipment additional 50 euros. There are 20 euros of normally in Belgium. Yeah, if you're stop at least in Belgium, if you're stop at the border at the customs, they charge you 20 euros for VAT, more or less, for what I because it was about 100 euros of material, and then you have to buy another 20 euros on administrative work, or 25 and 25, something like that. And then I was able to recover the VAT from Element Games. The Element Games reimbursed me the VAT of the items that I purchased, but of course they don't pay back the administrative charges that I receive. So I'm thinking now, next time I think I will try with Goblin Trader, but I know that they don't have very good reputation. I think, but it's the only option I have this moment. Yeah, I think I will even if I have to wait, I will start ordering from Goblin Trade. But I will need to be pay attention that my material is in English. The problem is the shops here in Belgium. I don't go to any shop in Belgium to play or to. If I was going to a shop to play, maybe I was buying to this shop and make my life easier. But there is not a place where I go to play now. I was used to go to the Games Workshop of Brussels, but yeah, I had a problem at the end and I stopped going there. So this is one of the things. So if you are were used to order to UK to Element Games, I guess Wayland will have the same problem. No, there is a big question mark what to do. Yeah, you get reimbursed by the VAT. I get back the VAT of the things that were not books. Okay, so they can give you back 20% of the items that are not books. because the books don't have VAT in in UK. So at the end, I was ordering more books than any other thing. I was just reimbursed by €9, but they can reimburse you the VAT from the UK shop. But there is fixed costs that are the administrative costs that you have to pay yes or yes. So there is no way to escape. And yeah, and they are these costs are killing you. So you really need the only way to save if you do a very big order, then you can offset all these fixed costs and then claim back the VAT. But to do that, I guess you have to do a joint purchase from with other players or with other people. So I don't know. I have another friends, sorry, that are they have ordered to Wayland, so I will see what happened there because it also can depends on how each shop is managing the deliveries and the courier agency that you choose. But if you go by the standard Belga Post, that is you're going to be screwed up. So let's see. But it's not going to be a good moment to order to UK until the European Union. I guess there will be a moment that will arrive to agreement when the situation is calmed down. Because I don't think the situation is benefiting to any of the two regions, not the UK, neither the the European, because I guess it will happen in the two ways at the end. So I guess they will arrive in agreement. But until they arrive to agreement, yeah, it's not a good idea to order at this moment to UK shops. Yeah, I will try Goblin Trade. I think is what I will try. Thank you, Mario Games. I think is what I want to use. Yeah, this thing on this scam on the Hero Quest was really bad. So let's see how I'm yeah, I will keep an eye how this all is progressing and see if the is improving in the future. But for the moment, I think Wayland and Element Games are out of my radar. But it was very convenient. So, and I would love to have a shop close by that is not a retailer, that is not Games Workshop directly, to be able to go and to have more social connection. But with the situation today, it's not easy to do it and to start investigating. So let's see. Okay, so I have improved the lighting. I hope now is better. And yeah, I have improved my lighting, and I also have bought a new camera, a new webcam, so um, I can show better what I'm doing. So I hope this is improving. I try to improve. I still don't happy with the angle where the camera is put, but I need to play how I can do if I can do zoom with this camera or not. I have not find the setting yet. So because I would like to put it like my standard camera that I use to record the tutorials and then zoom in so I can show better what I'm doing. Because from the side is not the best angle sometimes. Yeah, maybe it was. I said the scam. I was the wrong word. I agree. I was meaning. I think was a miscalculation of to be too optimistic. But to be fair, they went in a very long delay on the 15 on the Hero Quest box. So he put himself in a very bad situation. So I was surprised when I saw the Kickstarter. So this is why I did not even think to enter into the Kickstarter. Yes. What I mean is, I was looking for a zenithal view from the top. This is what I was looking for. Let me see because I'm losing. You need to speed a bit the setting of. Yeah. Yes, I'm looking for top. Yeah, I saw your what you have done. Yeah, I was using. I wanted to use it. I have the tripod of my camera as well on the table. If you go to my community, I put a picture how my table is set up normally for the tutorials. I wanted to use the same setup, but yeah, I don't know. Or I will need to. I can also hold with some clamps from there closer to the miniature, but I think it's the best way to show it. The other way is to have a camera that can stand on front you, but then it's in the middle of the painting. I don't know. It's not easy to find the right position of the cameras. So I'm doing today blue, trying to do the cloth of this lady, trying to wet blend directly. To be fair, more I get used to the wet palette, more difficult will be me to stop using the wet palette. Think was the best thing, one of the most important investments to do, the wet palette. Advices for the new painter. Okay. Yeah. The first advice for a new painter is, yeah, you need a good light, okay? A good place to paint first. So a good light, and start with the basic techniques. The first thing is to gain brush control. So start. I think the first technique that you can to learn are the dry brushing and the using washes. I think when you start learning how to do a wash, how to wash a miniature, it's very helpful. Okay, because it will give you controlling the wash will give you a very good base to start painting later on. Okay, and if you just do base coat and a wash, okay, you have a nice tabletop that you can improve later on. Okay, so the first part is to practice with the basic techniques until you have a good control of them. Because then the first thing that you need is brush control, is to understand how the brush, how to control the brush, how the paint will flow. So this is very different from the writing that we do. So this is very important, right? And I will recommend to start with very basic techniques, as I said, to use washes and to use dry brushing. If you are really new and you never paint before, the contrast paints are a very good option. Okay, and I did some videos on how to apply the contrast paints, but I think if you if you know how to apply washes, the contrast paints are very similar to the washes, and this really shortcut a lot the work, and you can have very decent results with and not too much effort with the contrast paints. And I think they create a very good base where to start painting. So I think contrast paints are great, but you have to be careful. They are not a miracle, so you have to apply them with with some care, with some love, okay, and apply them in the correct way. So maybe I can do an example later on how to apply. Let me see if I can stop doing that and then do example how to apply how I apply the contrast paints. But the contrast paints can be one of your big friends when you start painting. I'm even when you not start when you are not a new painter. I think the contrast paints for me are being as good as the washes. I see the contrast paint as an intensive wash. Okay, so it's a wash that is have a good coverage. Okay, but there are some tips that you need to follow when you apply contrast paint. The first inconvenience of the contrast paint is that you have to prime in white. Okay, so this requires that you have really to, if you do a mistake, can be more visible than if you prime in black. But on the other part, a layer of contrast paint can give you very good results. Okay, also depends a lot which army are you going to paint. The other thing is, the other tricky part is to keep the motivation when you're painting a big army. Okay, one of the things that is also how to keep motivated when you're painting an army, especially if you want to paint a 40K or Age of Sigmar army. Okay, so what I recommend is that you do yourself a system of obligation and regards in a way. Okay, for example, there are some units that can be more tedious to paint, right? Big units can be quite tedious to paint if you have to paint a lot of them. So my recommendation is you start with some of these tedious units and you try to do them, and then when you're finished, you do something that is more fun for you. You do a hero, I don't know if you like more vehicles. So, but you combine something that is more tedious to something that you really enjoy. In that way, it's easier for you, and you keep more the motivation. Okay? Your motivation will be to have to paint this nice miniature at the end of this tedious work. At least it's how I reward myself. So in that way, I keep the motivation. So when, okay, the other thing is from time to time, paint something different that is not from your army. This will give you some fresh air. something different to paint that will keep the motivation, will help you to keep the motivation. Because I can tell you the most difficult part, one of the parts that we underestimate the most. So you need passion. Everybody knows that. So you need to start little by little with small techniques. But you also need to keep your motivation over this journey. And my way to keep the motivation is like that. And then one thing that maybe sounds a little bit stupid, but at least for me is working a lot. Look on what you have painted and not what is pending to be painted. Okay? Always look on what you have already achieved. Can sound a little bit, sometimes a little bit obvious, this thing, but always look on what you have already done. Okay? Then, when you do your first minis, paint something that is not, that you are not going to be scared to. So don't start with a hero, I mean. Start with something that is not that important for your army. Or sometimes when I paint my first miniature that I painted, I started in second edition, okay, in 40k, and I buy a set what it used to have a second edition Space Marine and a very old fantasy plastic Chaos Warrior. Okay, so I paint these two miniatures first, just for me to practice and to test some techniques. I still keep these two miniatures somewhere in my on my cabinet. These are the first two minis I paint. One Chaos Warrior and a Space Marine second edition with the Bolter Cross on front of the chest. But was really a way for me to get a little bit used to the brush and to start understanding a little bit the paint. Then I paint the cheapest plastic miniatures for my army first. So start with something that is not the most important unit. Start with something that is more a disposable unit or something like that, because you will need to practice and you don't be scared to screw up what you're painting. So, but yeah, it's mainly is passion, practice. Start with easy techniques. Once you start mastering an easy technique, go for the next one. Okay, and keep building on your techniques little by little. Okay, and then when you finish a new miniature, look what you have improved versus the previous one or what you can do better for the next one. Important also is to finish the miniatures. Okay, don't start 20 miniatures and finish none of them, because this is very demotivating. I will always recommend to finish that miniature even if you are not 100% happy with the result. Give it done and go to the next one. Okay, and if it's needed, you can come back to this miniature, but much later. Wait some months before coming back to that miniature. Okay, but don't get obsessed in one miniature to make it perfect, because this will not happen. Even today, sometimes I have to give up and say, okay, this is not my miniature and it's not going to work anymore. So I have to give up a little bit and go for the next one. Okay, so don't get, I mean, it's important to finish projects and start a new one. So, yeah, but, and I thought it's important to finish. So for me, I think one of the most important things is that you have to finish the project. So project cannot last forever, because then it's very demotivating. You have the feeling that you're never achieving, going to anywhere. So finish a project, go to the next one. And if you want much later, after some months, you can come back to this unit and repaint on that unit. Okay. So I hope now it's much easier to see or to appreciate the miniature that I'm painting. I hope now you can, although I don't know if you can see where I'm applying. It's a little bit too far, so I need to see how I can zoom in with this camera, if it's possible. Well, here the purpose of this live is more to have a chat and to talk with all of you, so you can make open questions at the same time. Yeah, you decide to go with Sisters of Battle. So, but if you have a Space Marines and if they are not going to be your core army, I recommend that you first paint some Space Marines as a practice. Okay. One mistake that we do a lot when we're starting is to put too many colors on a miniature. And this is quite a tricky thing. So I recommend when you are starting from, when you are painting your first miniatures, try to follow a color scheme from that is existing. Later on, you will be able to invent a color scheme, but I think the first time, before you get practice, it's better to follow a color scheme that you know that is working. Okay, because then you can have, if you start inventing color schemes, there is two problems, or you create that you don't know if the miniature is not looking good because the color scheme choosing is not good, or because your painting skills are not good enough, right? So I told by experience because I tried to invent my own color scheme when I was starting with the Space Marines, and at the end with the Chaos Space Marines, and at the end I had to I did a practice on the Space Marine that was coming in the box, and at the end I decided not to do that because yeah, it's not easy at the end to find to decide the color scheme and to see how all these colors will match together. So I think you need some experience and understanding. So I would say my recommendation will be first look around if someone have tried the color scheme that you have in mind, if you want to invent one, and for your first miniature, just follow one of the official color schemes that are existing. Because this will simplify at the beginning your learning steps, right? Later on you can start inventing color schemes and going for more crazy combinations or your own combination, but at the beginning I would recommend that you follow one of the official color schemes that you like. It's going to make your life much easier. Okay. And I hope that will be my first advices. So then it's also a learning step by step. So let's talk a little bit about the contrast paints. So I will show you here on the, so for example, this miniature, I still need to put another layer of, if you want to apply contrast, you need to put another layer of prime, okay? So there is too much, the blue is too much visible. So I will take grace here and I will apply a brush, a prime with by brush. Okay, I think maybe I have here some grace here. I will put a little bit more. Okay. These primes colors are a little bit thick. So another important tip is to learn how to thin the paints. Okay, there is on the wet palette you only can thin them with water. So this is why I don't put metallics on my wet palette. I don't put contrast paints. I don't put washes neither because the washes don't thin well with water. Although I can use them directly from the brush. Okay, so I have thinned this, and you go with quite thin paint, the paint quite thin, and you apply it evenly over the miniature. Okay, I will always recommend if prime the miniature by aerosol. Okay, but or by airbrush. Okay, I think it's better for priming the first time, especially on plastic because the paint can be quite slippery. So slippery, I mean it's not easy to have a even prime on plastic by brush. Okay, it's feasible, you can do it, but it's not the best. But this one was primed first with a spray, and now applying a second layer of prime, it's quite easier. And you go quite thin because you don't want to clog any or to block any detail, right? You want to really be careful not to cover or to go, yeah, to damage any detail that you have there. Okay, we apply it like that. Okay. And we do it like that. And where the contrast paints will excel, the places where you will have a very nice finishing on the contrast paints are where you have a lot of texture, like the feather on this miniature. Okay. So now I will wait a little bit here. That is the brush is still too visible on this part. And now I wait that this dries, and I will come back to that miniature. Okay. But I will do later on the contrast there, so you see how I apply it. So let's go back to this one now. I want to order a second handle. I think I'm liking a lot these handles from this workshop. So another thing that I want to say, in 2 weeks are going to be in Spanish is called las Jornadas Internacionales del Hobby. So the international days of the hobby, more or less, in the translation, that are being organized now by Malaga War Games and by Scratch Attack, by Lumi from Scratch Attack. Okay, and I'm planning to participate with my channel in Spanish. Okay, so these are going to be, so I will do as well live in Spanish in 2 weeks, more or less. And I'm planning to do the live in Spanish on Friday, so I can keep this live, can keep the schedule for this live in this channel on Saturday. But it's going to be interesting to see how many people can participate on these things and how it goes on. So I'm looking forward to see how this, yeah, like it's going to be a virtual com of the hobby, how this will go, and it will be multi-platform, not only YouTube. There will be Instagram, Twitch, I guess some people in Twitter. So the idea is to have a day where all the virtual producers like me, like Malaga War Games, Corozo War Games, and a lot of them, we produce simultaneously material. Okay, and I'm very happy to see how this. I'm looking forward to see how this will go. Okay. As well, when you're starting, the other thing is, I will recommend you not to use the most expensive brushes. I will recommend the people that it's starting, it's better that you start not with the cheapest one in the market of brushes, but not with the most expensive ones. Because at the beginning it's quite easy to damage the brush. Okay. I know that because you have a good brush, you will not paint better. But it can help. Okay, because you keep the tip longer. So I'm now using these Artist Opus brushes. I like them a lot. But I recognize they are very expensive. We're talking about 50 euros for 4 brushes. Okay, I don't recommend to start with this type of brushes when you start painting. Okay, and then the brush is something very personal. So almost every painter is used to type of brush. Okay. I really like this miniature a lot. This Imagifier. But I guess the top part is not should be like an empty statue or something like that, right? Make of a type of maybe a type of light material. Because if this is done in stone, it's impossible to carry that thing. As you can see, so let's see how the supply in Europe will go in the future. I guess everybody have to get used to the new situation, and I'm wondering, shops like Element Games and Wayland, what they will do. Because I told them until this is not solved, I sent a mail to them because I think it's a problem for these shops, right? They were used to supply a lot to Europe, and they will lose this with the Brexit because the people will not pay these expensive fees just to, yeah, I don't know. And it's not only that, there will be a lot of things that will suffer with this new regulation on the customs between Europe, yeah, with the Brexit. But I guess this will change. I'm pretty sure this will change in the future because it's not good for anybody in the region. So now let's paint the hood of this lady. I put too much paint on my wet palette. The other thing is this paint can, if I close it correctly and so on, yeah, if I don't finish today, I can keep using this paint tomorrow. So this is a good thing. I think wet palette is one of the most interesting tools to have. It helps you to mix paint. It helps you to keep the paint thinner for longer. And it's, yeah, I think it's super helpful when you start using wet blending. So I'm really loving the wet palette now. And I was not one, yeah, I spent a lot of time, long time. I was painting just taking the paint from the pot, eh? But once you get used to the wet palette, it's a step change. Here we go. Okay, the other thing is, yeah, I guess one of the methods I'm looking forward are the new sisters walkers that were shown in the month of Jan. I think was in the last Games Workshop review. And so see, as I can play soon a game of Warhammer 40,000. Put some light blue on top. Now we blend it. Okay. So once I'm done with this lady, I will keep painting the Raging Heroes miniatures that I have. But the Raging Heroes miniatures, they have a smaller scale, a little bit smaller scale, or maybe they are more to scale compared to the Games Workshop ones. At least the faces are smaller and some details are smaller. I'm painting this one, still a lot to do. Okay, I really like the Mexican hat. Okay, and I have here more to paint. Let me see here. Okay, yes, I am a Barca fan, but I'm not, since I'm in Belgium, I'm not too much into the football anymore. I just see from time to time the news and from time to time a match here or there, but I'm not a super fan of football. Will Messi leave Barca? I don't know, but I think maybe it's a good time for him to leave, right? I know that he's being a legend for the team, for the club, but there is a moment maybe that you have to look in other places. I don't know. I know that the situation was is not easy, but I'm not sure what will go there, to be fair. And here I don't follow, since I'm here, I don't follow too much the news on football anymore. So I cannot tell you what is going to happen or what. I don't have a good opinion there because I'm not too much into football. So it's one, and with the confinement, I even know less because I don't even talk with my colleagues about football. So this is another thing that this confinement or these limitations is also causing that there are things or news that you get used to discuss at the workplace that now you don't discuss anymore because you don't go to the workplace or you are not when you go not everybody's there. I mean, I'm working from home. Yeah, I go to the office once a week and I'm working the rest of the days from home. And I have colleagues that maybe they go once every 2 weeks. Okay, and people that maybe goes once a month. Okay, I have to go because I also have some lab work to do. But if you don't have any solid reason to go to the office, in my case, I'm not allowed to go to the office. I have to work from home. Okay, unless my computer is breaking down or I have to do. But I have work to do in the lab, so I have to go at least more or less once a week, or at least to pick up some samples that I need and to do my work. Okay. So, but as I go so little to the office, there is a lot of things that you I was used to know through other people or through talking at the coffee time. That no, you don't have this input anymore, and it's really changing. Yeah, how I receive some of the news. So normally, no, what I try to do is when I call a colleague, one of my really close colleagues at work, if we talk by phone, let's talk a little bit of social chatting, right? Because it's something that you need, this social chatting. It's also important, especially in my case that I'm living in a country, but I'm not living at my home country. So it's good to know what is going on because sometimes you don't get all the news or you are not paying attention to all the news. So, but yeah, coming back to your topic, I'm not up to date with what is going on with Messi. I know that there are some problems, or there have been some problems, but I don't know. I'm also surprised that they have been able to be that long in one team at this level. Maybe it's good for Messi and for Barcelona, for Barca to that Messi is changing. Sometimes you need a change to grow as a person or as a professional. Not that Messi, it's difficult to grow more than Messi in football, but maybe he needs to grow in other aspects of the life. The end, he gave a lot to the club, right? So people should not be upset because he wants to move. But yeah, this today also I learned something that it's quite I didn't know that it seems that the people that is vaccinated, okay, they are like asymptomatic people, so they can contaminate other people. This is what I hear from specialists today, and this creating now a different issue. So the people that is vaccinated on COVID, they don't suffer the consequences of COVID, but they can contaminate other people. So this is quite a different situation. So wondering how all this will go. Yeah, I see. I fully agree. I think if the people start bitching on him, is not good, right? It's not what he deserves. I think he have give a lot to the club, and he's a person at the end, right? So it can be normal that if the situation is not as used to be, he wants to move. Okay, I hope it does not go to the Real Madrid, but maybe it's good for both, eh? Because Barcelona is very depending on him, or becomes very dependent on him. So I think it's not good for a team to depend so much on a player. So nothing is forever here, especially in sports and business. Okay, another thing that is tricky to understand when painting miniatures is what to assemble and what not to assemble. Okay, for example, this backpack that I'm painting now, all the base color and the first shading was done before gluing, and I glue it later on. Because then, and I did as well first the back of the armor, so that way I have better access, and I can do maybe better and even faster work if I glue it later on. So it's important as well when you are preparing the mirror to be painted to think how everything will goes together. Because this is important to see if you need to paint something separate from the main body. If you want to use the miniatures before painting, Then one tip is to use glue tack, one type of tack, to put the parts together. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining. Happy, yeah, I'm happy to see you here, and I'm looking forward if we can connect again next weekend. Looking the time, it's one. Yeah, time flies when you are enjoying painting something. Okay, let's go here. Okay, I'm painting here the symbol. Okay, like that. We'll do the lips of this lady. It's too thick, this thing. We'll change to thinner brush now. The good thing is in this one you don't have to do eyes. No, brown. Okay. Yeah, good night, Tommy. And now, yeah, sorry, I was quiet here. Was when I'm focusing on something that need to pay additional attention. Sometimes I'm getting quiet. So let's put. So to do white, the new contrast from Apothecary White is very good. Okay, and then when I'm using contrast paints, I try to I need to put a little bit more of Apothecary White. I put it once, but I think I will put I'm putting a second layer now to have better shading. Okay, and now I'm going to show you another use of the contrast paint. That is to do the shading. So I'm going to use with charger way, and I will put it on the sword. Here. Then we have that thing shading there. And now I'm going to use this same to add some additional shading in some places, like here. Okay, we can add some here. Okay. I will add as well on this pair. But try to be very soft and gentle. Of course, we'll need to clean up all this later on. I think like that is good enough. So we're going to clean up later on. Okay. This image fair have quite some work to do, eh? So the blue is more or less done. Here and there, the legs. I'm going to work on the symbols. Okay, so let's first put here. This goes normally, I put in all my sisters in red, this back thing. Okay, you can see you go with the brush sideways, and normally you should be able to cover without getting out. Now I'm going to do the small one here. And the other one I do it green. Okay. Now let's work on the symbol. So we are going to apply lighter blue. Okay, we do the fleur de lis. Then we do here. Like that. Now, to take even a lighter one. Okay. Oh, here we have. Now I can use white. Here we go. Let's do now. This round is almost over. Can use the black. So I put a little bit of black on the top. Now I'm going to use the very bright red. We take some to dry. This is corn red. Okay. Now we can do the dot. Dot in white. There. To match. So let me put more water here. Although what I need is black. Like that. And now I need to improve the red. Okay, and I will put a little bit of red. Here. Okay. Now we have some work to do on the statue, mainly with white. We'll need to start highlighting. Maybe we'll need to use Celestial Gray from time to time to help me. I want to give this very I want to make this wider. I will need to put orange in some moment as well on the red. So let's put here on the boots. As I said, I imagine this is a type of light material, right? You don't go carrying a statue on a top of a rod. Okay. Let me just clean up here. Okay. This is another advantage of the wet palette, is that you can have the colors that you used previously Before continuing working on that, I want to do one thing first. There is this type of parchment that goes on the statue, and I would like to put a more bone color. So I'm going to use another contour paint, Agarus Dunes, and I'm going to apply this when this happens. Okay. I'm going to apply this on this part. This one I want it more on the brown yellowish color. Okay, like that. I know that this miniature can look a little bit ridiculous carrying this on the battlefield, but I like it from the first moment I saw the miniature. So now, although I have a miniature to represent the Magifair, I always wanted to have this one. So I think it's very in line with all the Gothic and non-realistic part of Warhammer 40,000, right? The end Warhammer 40,000, it's far from being, from my point of view, is far from being realistic. There is too much exaggeration, right? Who will go with that on a modern day on the battlefield? So it's more from the past. I like it a lot. The new, sorry, I have not seen your message before. So I like it a lot, the new handle. So, and I think it's well think. It's quite stable. Okay. Because they have a lot of weight at the bottom. So there is a lot of weight here. I think making these two things, you can see it's quite. So if you hit it, it's quite stable. You need, of course, if you hit it hard, it will fall down. And I like that it's thin because then it's easy to handle like that. So I like it. I like it. I'm getting used to it to the point that I'm buying a second one. So I like the handle. To be fair, I never used handles before. I was hanging or taking the meter from the base. But since I bought this one, I want to buy a second one. So I will say yes, I like them. Well, I like it. So I know that the shape can look a little bit funny. Okay, but it does the work quite nicely. So if you want something to help to handle the miniature, go for it. It works. You can see, you can hold this one. Okay, this is a 32 millimeter base. You also can hold, because you have the step to hold the 25-28. If I put it inside. Okay, so you can hold and I think you can also hold the 40. No, wrong. Let me see. No, the 40 is not. You cannot hold it. Yes, you can hold the 40, but it's the limit. So 40 is the limit that you can hold. Okay, and then if you need 50, it's not anymore possible on this one. Okay, so you can go from 25 to 40 what I was saying. But it's really designed for 32. I think 32 is the most relaxed. Is the best for this one. But 40 you will work. If you need to paint Space Marines that are on 32s and 40s, it's a good base. So a good handle, sorry. So no doubt. Thinking to buy the XL later on. But as I don't have at this moment anything that I need to paint on this size, I did not buy it yet. So it does the work and it does it correctly. Okay, I did not test handles from other companies, to be fair. Let's say this is my first handle. Maybe I should do a video review because of the handle, giving my opinion. What I think. So there is two things that I changed recently. The last year and a half. One is the wet palette. Start using the wet palette, and the other one is the handle. And I'm happy with both. Okay. And I think the red glass wet palette is working quite well as well. So, and also the brushes, I changed brand. I wanted to test this Artist Opus. And so far, I'm quite happy with them. Okay. Here we go. So I think it's 1:34. Maybe I will start stopping here the live. It's been more than 1 hour here doing the live. It's quite late. Maybe it's a good time to stop. Unless you have additional questions or points that you would like me to talk. If not, I will stop here the live. Give some couple of minutes. You can see here the Corax white is not white, it's gray. With some more white. I think the top handle for me is quite good. The middle is handle very, it will not fall. Okay, so this is a plastic one. Can hold a metal miniature. I just broke my metal miniature, but okay. There is one thing that is important. You need Games Workshop bases with this inclination, because what you have is you have the negative. Okay, so this is really designed for miniatures with the base that have inclined border, inclined edge. Okay, if it's a flat edge, I don't have any, but it will not hold. Okay, it will not hold good. Let me see if I have an example here. And of course, it will not work on a square basis. It's only for rounded bases. Let me see if I find. And I did not test these ones. But I guess these ones, you can. These ones are not for this. Okay. You can hold this one. Also, the limit is very at the limit. You start forcing a little bit the handle. And you have to be careful because you can damage the spring. Okay, I'm trying to find, because I mainly have Games Workshop bases. I'm thinking if this can be hold. This is a very old one. I don't know if this is still used, but you can also hold this one. And if you have a square bases, so you can hold this one, the cavalry. And you can hold this one as well. Okay. But this one will only be held at the corners. Okay, because this is designed for round bases. But you can hold it. Then I was looking, but these are the very small square ones. They will need to go here at the bottom. So it's not the ideal, but you can also hold it. I'm not doing squares, too much squares anymore. So that's why I did not. Sorry if there's some noise now. But I'm looking for an Games Workshop base if I have any. It's a Blood Bowl base. I don't think I have Games Workshop bases here. No, I don't have. And then the other thing I did not test, if you can hold, for example, the Shattered Dominion. Okay, went to the ground, but I did not want to send them. Just one moment. Okay, so this is a Shattered Dominion base, one of these ones. But this is out of the size. This is 50, so I will not be able to fit this one. No, it's the 40. It's quite a delay with the 40 here. Where's the 50? I need to check. This is too small, too big. Okay, this base is too big. It will not fit. I think this is the 51. Looks quite big to me. But I managed to put it's the same that are used for the. So if you have blight, it's very at the edge. You see, the one that is not from Shattered Dominion is at the extreme, so it should be able to fit, but it's at the extreme of the spring. Yeah, you can fit it, but it's quite at the edge. So this is a 50. So you can also fit the Shattered Dominion without problems. And I was looking if I have a base that is not Range Workshop, but I don't have any at this moment here. I used to have bases from other brands, but I don't have any now. But I would say that it's quite good. Okay, so it's quite good. But the base needs to have this type of sorry, this to have this type of a slope. Okay, so it was a Shattered Dominion of 25, and you can fit it very nicely here. Okay. I also use it for Necromunda bases, and you don't have problem. So it's not a bad handle. I'm quite happy. It works. So I cannot complain, to be fair. So you can see I'm holding it in very different ways. Eh? But the thing is, I have not tried the previous one. The previous holder. I don't know if it's better or not. But for me, the change they have done is making sense. Because by making thinner the top part, you move the weight to the bottom. Okay, having this thin helps in two things. First, having thicker this part puts more weight at the bottom, making the handle a little bit more stable. So for me, it makes sense what they have done. I know that the shape now it's insinuating another thing, but I have to say that is the right way to go. At least for me. So let's see if I can finish it this lady between today and tomorrow. I really want to. Then we will go for the next project. Okay, I've been playing quite a little bit into Blue Ball recently. So I have to say that this second edition of Blue Ball, or no, second, it's not really second edition, it's season 2, but it's the fourth edition, the fourth Blue Ball iteration. Although the previous ones have this one also have a very similar rules. They will see between the previous and the second and the third edition, there were no differences, I think, apart of the points. This one, it's a little bit more different. Okay, on how you win new abilities, and as well having the pass as a new attribute, as a new. Okay, so this new Blue Ball have wake up my interest for Blue Ball again, to the point that I'm what's called this. I'm removing the paint from some old Chaos miniatures they have. I have a metal team from the second edition Blue Ball, the Chaos team. I have it here in a pot. Okay, you see. So this is a metal, so can be put in acetone. And I'm trying to now focus a little bit on Blue Ball. So Blue Ball is a game that was very interesting for me in the 90s. I play quite a lot, and I find it's quite a nice game to play in family. It's quite fast once you get used to it, and you have to take it easy. Yeah? It's a game for fun. Not I know that there is a lot of competitive on the Blue Ball, but I like it more as a relaxed game. So I'm trying to teach how to play, how to move, because it's quite tricky, how you move the miniatures. So what I'm doing to help my wife and my kids that are completely new to this, they are explaining me what they want to do, and I told them the best way to do it. Okay, what is the best way to move, to support other players. If you want to do, I give them advices all the game, because I think it's the way to encourage people to play a new game, right? Telling them how to be better. Okay, so I think we have been painting for some time here. I hope you have enjoyed this live. Okay, let me know what do you think of these lives in the comments. But I think so far I like quite interacting with the people. I know that there is not too much people in each video, in each live, but I don't mind. I think it's a moment that to make something more relaxed, to paint with you, to be able to chat. I have chat with different people over the different lives, so I really appreciate that. So I will try to do again next Saturday. And I said I start between 11:30 and 12, depending how I go. Today I was going very late. We have dinner very late and so on, so we start very late as well. But I will try to do at least 1 hour, 1 hour and a half every Saturday of live. And this is the moment that, yeah, to do a little bit of update of the channel. And then the main purpose is to have some interaction with you. Okay, you can make your questions, and I'm very happy to answer them. So I'm looking forward to see you again next Saturday. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this one. To all the people that have commented in the chat that have passed by, thanks a lot for joining the live. And yeah, and see you again later. Okay, so let me put back my camera to say goodbye. Let's go here. I think we have improved how now it looks like the everything. So I hope you have enjoyed this one, and I also hope that it was much easier or much better to see how everything was looking like. Okay, as yeah, all of you, thanks a lot for joining. I hope you had a good time, and yeah, looking forward to see you next weekend. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.